Hi, I'm Shaka Hislop, and you're here at Extra Time TV.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Hey everyone, this is Andres Sokral. Welcome. The game has kicked off. Welcome to the latest live stream of Trinidad Tobago versus El Salvador women. And before I can introduce myself, the game is 39 seconds in. Trinidad Tobago already has a chance coming off the post. So I've hit the ground running, folks. I hope you guys are hearing me okay. So the game is taking place at the Hazy Crawford Stadium. As you could see here, for those of you who are looking along, Trinidad, within the first 30-something seconds, created a chance hitting the post. So a great start for Trinidad and Tobago. So while we're talking here, and if you're just joining us, I will update the time. So I'm looking at the live stream like everybody else. You all could let me know where you all are. And if you're joining me right now, I will try to update the score lines as fast as possible. So everyone, welcome. I see people already joining in already. So I'm trying to make sure the clock is in sync with the stream as well. So let's make sure I get that right. Trinidad and Tobago in possession right now. I'm just going to pause for a second here to get it right. All right, so I think we're okay now. So yeah, so we're in here, folks. Streamers, everybody in here. This is I'm a bit disappointed. I'm looking at the live stream here and I'm seeing the stadium is not very filled. Trinidad and Tobago, we need to do better than this. This is kind of unacceptable. We talk about fans and so on, but this is a crucial game. These girls, it's a must-win. We have to go on. We have to win this so we can move forward in the competition. And like I said, if you're just joining us, Trinidad and Tobago created a chance within the first 40 seconds. And, I think this team, I've worked with the women's team before, and I can tell you this. What should I say? I should say I've worked with the women's national team back in 2020, maybe, and 2021. So I know a lot of the players. So El Salvador as well, they're going to want to get a victory. And I don't know if you all remember, years ago I was there at the game when we were on the verge of qualifying. Randy Waldrum was the coach. We had Lauren Hutchinson, Erin King, and all these people. Karen Forbes and those people were there back then, Kamika. And unfortunately, we got the heartbreaking goal at the last minute. But just to kick things off, El Salvador on top of the Vox, Victoria Swift using her body and physicality, a player I've worked with closely and seen. She's going to have to use all her experience today to keep the team composed. El Salvador trying to go out wide. They are known for their quick wide players. And a bit of a scuff of a shot there that's well picked up. So, folks, as you can see, I was hastily running through the traffic today to try to get this stream going. I got the starting lineups directly from CONCACAF here. So I'm going to pull it up as well. But as it is, if you're just joining us, we're 3 minutes in. El Salvador in possession right now. We created a chance, and that would have taken such pressure off Trinidad and Tobago if we got that goal in the first couple seconds of the game that hit the post. And I think the more and more the game goes along, and I've been in a situation like this with the women's team. For those of you who don't know, folks, Trinidad and Tobago, I have worked with the women's team before. I'm going to move my chat box. It's kind of blocking here. So yeah, everybody, like I said, don't forget to jump in the chat. When you do that, you automatically qualify for chances to win prizes, and it supports the channel as well. So everybody in here, welcome Kingley. I see Sherry, LaRose, Abbas, Adulimi, and people joining in. Like I said, this is a very interesting game. I'm a bit disappointed with the attendance at the game. I figured it's Friday. Sometimes, I'm hoping that because it's Trinidad and Tobago, people tend to kind of come in really late during the game, and I'm hoping that's the case. So Trinidad and Tobago attempting to go down the wings, but El Salvador with a direct approach, winning possession and going directly towards our goal. But right now it seems as if El Salvador is trying to settle down after that early scare from Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago seems to be keeping their shape pretty well. Corner up front, I think. Swift winning the header as expected. I think that's go sign, I believe. Swift once again with a no-nonsense clearance. And, so far, so good from what I've seen. I have a lot of love for the women's team. I was saying this before. Before I get to that, El Salvador taking on Victoria Swift one-on-one. Rapiva, can we not watch? So it's available on CONCACAF on the YouTube channel. I mean, I would love for you to stay and watch. So welcome, Rapiva. Let me know where you're from, and everybody who's joining in the live stream, let me know where you're from. Let me know you're in here because we have a lot of prizes to give away. But we're here to support our team. And if you're from El Salvador as well, you're most welcome. I've noticed in the last streams, we've had a lot of people support from both ends, and that's okay. Victoria Swift doing well to intercept what could have been a tricky pass. So El Salvador now trying to assert passing dominance here in possession, keeping the ball at the half line. Some pressure being applied by Cordner. So Trinidad trying to press them back. Very similar to the men in terms of the pressing style. I'll talk about the tactics just now, and I'll put the formations up on the screen. Ideally, I'd have loved to have been there. And one of the days I'm going to do this live stream at the game, folks. I usually go to the game, to the post-match conferences. It's a lot of red tape. El Salvador with a bit of a half chance, causing some problems, but very, very shaky moment there. The ball coming off the bar. So let's take a replay. A high ball over the back four. And just enough to keep it out. But it just shows in football you can have all the beautiful passing. And sometimes that direct pass over the back four, if well timed, it can cause a lot of problems. So, both teams creating chances very early. Kingley hit the crossbar. I think the keeper was also on her toes. I figured if it was any lower, she would have gotten it. Losing their footing here. So, like I was saying, I did work with the women's team. I was their media officer, and I worked on the coaching staff with Kenwin Jones, Carlos Edwards, James Baird. So, I know a lot of these players. There's a lot of players that are different now. The coach has his own philosophy he's implementing. So I always want them to do well. Women's football, it's not very well supported. Asha James, like myself. Asha James, great friend of mine. I also worked with her. I'm seeing both of us with the white here today, folks. So we have similar taste. So if you're just joining us, we're 7 minutes and 30-something seconds in, and it's 0-0. Both teams getting some chances hitting the post. El Salvador looking to try to assert their dominance on the game very quickly after that quick scare. So let me just pull up some stats really quickly. So there's a free kick for El Salvador, whipping it directly into the box. And Trinidad doing well to get that there. So I want to pull up the formations for you all. I usually do that. So I'm going to try to put it up for you all really quickly while we're talking. So forgive me if I'm quiet for a split second. So once again, El Salvador resorting to some long balls. I'm guessing they identified a possible weakness in their eyes. If we get the ball in and over our back four, they can cause some problems. But Trinidad and Tobago, Asha James on the ball. Very great creative player. Low center of gravity. She is very comfortable on the ball. She has that creative style to her. And she has that little fire that you need. So, getting a little feisty as it should be. It's a competitive game. The stakes are very high. So I'm seeing that it is a foul. I think it was go sign, if I'm not mistaken, number 9. I don't know if the numbers are correct that I have here. So I'm going to try to... Sometimes the numbers on different sites are incorrect. So Trinidad and Tobago with a throw-in. So it's a pretty exciting game so far, folks. If you're not at the stadium and you're here joining us, Big Moves 888, welcome. Left back looking slow for age. Sometimes at the beginning of the game, with the pace of the game that El Salvador is going at us, is it the left back for us or the left back for them? I'm not sure, but Darwin. So the lineup I'm seeing here is 4-2-3-1 for Trinidad and Tobago, 4-4-2 for El Salvador. Darwin, Swift, Schneider, Franco, Hines, Gosign, James as that Cam, Aliyah, Prince, and Cordner. So an exciting game so far, folks. Once again, I notice El Salvador are resorting to direct balls into the box. So clearly... I'm now seeing solid. Sorry, my bad. Big moves. Yes. See, my glasses. So my chat was really small, so I made it big. So I have no excuse now. So I can see what you said, big moves. So everybody's in here, like I said, I'm glad you're joining the stream today. Thank you for joining us. Like I said, I had to beat a lot of traffic to come here and get this done. And I'm trying really hard to get these streams put together as fast as possible for everyone. And I have to say, so far so good for Trinidad and Tobago. So far so good. Aliyah Prince, she also played futsal. That's when I first met her with Coach Coney, Constantine Coney. And, she's a very aggressive, physical, dribbling player. Trinidad and Tobago had a bit of a half chance into the box here by Yaya Cordner. Back in the national setup when I was there, she was not there. And, she's trying to bring her experience, one of our prolific goal scorers. A header into our box comfortably dealt with. And we have a very interesting team. I'm actually agreeing with you, Big Moves. I actually think we're doing okay so far. El Salvador is playing exactly how I expect them to play. They do have that Central American, South American style. They're comfortable on the ground. They're quick combinations on the wings, and we're seeing it now. El Salvador is trying to pull us apart, but Trinidad and Tobago keeping their shit. Once again, a long ball, so clearly they identified this. The ball is in the box, and a free shot on goal that went wide. A free shot on goal by Lopez for El Salvador. So it's once again a long ball over the top, which so far we've dealt with, but in this particular case, it has caused some problems. So El Salvador now getting a pretty good chance. The keeper had it covered, but clearly El Salvador has identified that area. Quick 1-2 on top of the box. Victoria Swift marshalling her troops. Experienced, calm player. She has that imposing height. And those of you folks who didn't know this, I worked with the women's team. I'm not just a streamer, but I also work in football. I worked with the women's team back in 2021, 2022, where we got to the championships in Mexico when Kenman Jones was the coach. So I am familiar with a lot of the players, and of course, I will always support them, even if I was not. So it's a special place to me here, and I was also there years ago, and we almost made it to the World Cup when Randy Waldrum was the coach. And I think it was Ecuador scored that heartbreaking goal. And we actually dominated that game, but, taking your chances. So once again, El Salvador taking the initiative mostly, whipping the ball in. A bit of a miscommunication in the box here. Unfortunately enough, the ball was blasted high and wide. So, Victoria is going to have to calm her troops down. That ball the air balls are causing some problems. So let's take a look at the replay. Whipped in. Not well dealt with by the keeper. And luckily for us, El Salvador not getting a clean connection on the ball. So I think, is that, I couldn't see who it was, but I think it's Liana Hines, who last that I know, I think she was playing in Celtic. I don't know if that's changed. A great player as well. She has been plagued by some injuries. Aliyah Prince doing what I know her to do. She is very combative, tough competitor. Number 11, she likes to dribble. For those of you who don't know, I met her when she was on the futsal team. There's some interviews with EXTV with her. You all could check that out. People like her and Maria Sarant. Liana, who is a left-footed player from what I remember. But as you can see here, according to the stats, 66 possession for El Salvador and 34 for us. So, Trinidad and Tobago with a quick throw-in, attack down the wings. Across, but unfortunately no one was there to get it. So it seems as if for now, El Salvador has taken a bit more control of the game here. Yeah, the cross wasn't a good cross, unless she was expecting someone to come in, Kingley. I don't know. Yes, and the keeper has to hold that big moves. I saw that. So Victoria, Asha, the veterans, even though Asha is young, trying to build from the back. So we're going to have to use the experience of all these players here to control the game so El Salvador doesn't get too comfortable. I wish there were more people in the stadium, folks. Folks, what do you think about the stadium being empty? I mean, there's barely anybody in there. I think that's really bad. I think that's bad. I think our home game should be, is it the promoting? Is it the fans? Is it both? Let me know what you think in the comment section. And as I said, folks, be sure to follow me in the socials below. Like and subscribe because everybody in here has a chance to win prizes. Jersey giveaways. You can see some of them behind. Sign from players. Special access when we bring guests on the show. And you can also make donations. You can head over to extvmedia.com. I think Schneider is trying to marshal her troops. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. So El Salvador once again with an in-swinging cross that beat all the defenders. An in-swinging cross that got past the back four and an amazing save. An amazing save. So once again El Salvador, an in-swinging cross slicing through our back four, and luckily for us, it was straight at the keeper. So Trinidad Tobago is going to have to be very careful. El Salvador are very confident. As you could see here, in swinging cross, which is very tricky. Catching the centre-back pairing of Victoria Swift a bit off. And they're going to have to look at that. So they're trying a lot of aerial attacks. So El Salvador, from what I'm seeing, definitely showing their dominance in the midfield. And El Salvador being very comfortable in their attacking third. I always don't know if I pronounce it correctly. This is Elijon or Eligon. Let me know, Kingley. Let me know. If El Salvador put that shot in any other direction, would have won. Asha had a intelligent through ball, but I don't think it was read by Cordner. So El Salvador, the goalkeeper, gesturing to our players to apply pressure. And like I said, folks, if you're in here, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel and the live streams. It really does. So moving along, we're trying to force our ball too much. I've noticed with both the men and the women, we tend to rely heavily on athleticism on the wings. It's very rarely we control. Once again, El Salvador with a cross. And they are applying that pressure, folks. The defense is creaking but not breaking. El Salvador passing the ball and trying to destabilize our shape. So making our players work, folks. Making our players work. I'm seeing the goalkeeper holding her shoulder. Hopefully she's not injured. A bit of a clever shot. Almost a floated effort into the far post by Lopez. For El Salvador, let's take a look at that replay. I felt she had way too much time to do that. Very, very close. El Salvador is knocking on that door. Knocking on that door. We have to make sure that we don't do that. But we are, as you're saying, Kingley, you're correct. And big moves. We do have a tendency to not control the middle. That's just something with, I don't know if it's a cultural thing with our football. We don't have that in our DNA, where teams know that they could kind of dominate us in the middle. We don't hold possession well, and if we do it, it's not very constructive. I spoke about that in my last live stream, and teams take advantage of that. El Salvador keeper with a bit of a quick scare, but no pressure on her. It was a bit of an unforced error. So Trinidad Tobago, I've noticed, attempt to try to, both men and women, we rely heavily on speed and pace down the wings. And unfortunately, it makes us, in some cases, tactically predictable. And, you know, that versatility and the ability to play different ways, to slow things down, to control, have some possession. Sometimes you could see, in some cases, we are quite uncomfortable when we're in possession. Like, you know, let's pass the responsibility on to someone else. So, offside on El Salvador, Victoria, Vicky taking the free kick in our box. A very good delivery up front. Not well controlled. And once again, possession needlessly given away. We are bypassing the midfield and going straight to our wide players. We're going to have to try to get Asha James into the game a little bit more. She has the vision and the physical ability to create. So if you keep her out of the game and her ability to create passes and control in the middle, we're going to have problems. We are going to have problems. I'm seeing Kirby Kingley. If El Salvador wins, I hate them, to be honest. Yeah, so, you know, we are not holding on to the ball very well, folks. We are not holding on to the ball well. Asha trying to force herself into the game, which is correct. She has those characteristics to do that. So, Vicky, using all her experience to pass the ball back to the keeper. I figured the keeper should have had a bit more composure there. But, you know, safety first. And this is why, you know, technique and comfort levels and practice makes you calmer in those sort of situations. And, you know, this team, you know, to be fair, there's a lot of new faces from what I've seen over the years that has changed. So, you know, I'm not seeing us really creating any chances. Once again, another giveaway to El Salvador. Victoria. A 1-2 here, causing our defense some problems. Not a very good shot by El Salvador, but they are creating chances. I don't know if it's Lopez again. So, when I was on the team, Kamika Forbes was in number 1. So, pretty good delivery there. Not well received. But once again, we are giving away possession. So, you know, I'm pretty sure Coach Briggs will be looking at this. And it's something, it sounds like a repetitive thing I'm saying. But, you know, we have to control the middle a little bit better. Like I said, we resort to athleticism and pace down the wings. And it often limits us. You know, Trinidad Tobago, when Dwight York was the coach at least, you know, we had Kevin Molino and Mockett. These guys were starting to show the traits from my observation from the Pro League. Guys like Justin Sadu and a couple others, they have the characteristics. Angeron for the men. I feel like we are lacking those types of players in our system. A little bit of miscommunication there. I think Schneider cleared the ball. The keeper was gesturing. She could have had it. So these are the little things where, you know, when you play together, you build that. You build that communication. I've always said goalkeepers have to be very vocal and speak to their players, command that box, because sometimes that could be the difference between a goal or not. So El Salvador, we're in the 21st minute. Corner for El Salvador. Let's see how our defense handle this. Victoria Swift marshalling her troops. Whipped in. Not dealt with well by the keeper. Cordner trying to apply some pressure. I felt she could have applied a bit more pressure. Players down in the box. Players are not obligated to stop the game. Trinidad Tobago in possession. Asher, you can see Asher trying to slow things down, but of course they are stopping the game to help their teammate who looks like they're down. I think it's... I can't see who it is. Who is that? I can't tell who that player is. People in the stream, can you tell me who that is? Is it Victoria? Let's take a look at the replay here. So it was whipped in. The keeper cleared the ball. I think the keeper got, while punching on the ball, got a hand on one of our players. It looks like Swift. You know, that's not the kind of player we want injured right now. And maybe she's using all her experience to really manage the team and keep things in order. So the players having a discussion. Liana, senior player on the team, she's having a discussion with them, telling them what to do, taking that leadership role. In the past, it was people like Lauren Hutchinson, you know, Karen, Kamika Forbes. So Vicky has a lot of height, and sometimes people underestimate when you fall how much of an impact that is. So yeah, Swift is down. She would be a big loss if she has to come off. A massive loss if she has to come off. So both teams are allowed to catch their breath. Hopefully Vicky isn't injured. She looks very uncomfortable. So the staff, they're having a look. She seems to be grimacing a little bit. You could see the physios and the medical staff, they're speaking to her. And I'm guessing they're evaluating her to walk now. Victoria, because of her height and posture, she does sometimes her walk may look like she's injured, but because of her height sometimes. So Liana Hines having a discussion with her players. Losing their footing there. In a bad position here. El Salvador could take advantage of this. A 3 versus 3 situation. But Liana using her experience. She is capable of playing in that left back position as well. So she can defend. So if required, she can't step in that position. But at this point in time, Trinidad Tobago. So this is where we'll see. Usually, once again, we are trying to go down the wings. A little bit of frustration there, which is a little bit unnecessary. You know, we need to have that emotional control. I could see Trinidad Tobago. You know, there's a different. I think it was go sign. Kind of lashing out a little bit, and they're going to have to keep their calm. There's a difference between being feisty and losing your cool. And we need to make sure we have that. So 24 minutes in, 0-0. Both teams creating chances. El Salvador creating a lot more. I will look at SofaScore, who provides us with lots of data. So if you're just joining us, El Salvador has created the lion's share of chances and possession. Trinidad Tobago, after that first half chance that hit the post, I would say El Salvador has bossed the game ever since. To Schneider. being forced into a foul on Lopez. Their close control. Yep. Maybe a bit unnecessary, but maybe it shows the pace the games are playing. So, there's a free kick for El Salvador here. And Victoria Swift organizing her defense. She's back on the pitch. We're seeing Hines, Schneider, and Franco, along with Asher James in the wall. And it makes sense because a lot of these players have some height. Asher is probably the shortest. I don't think you want to put Prince in there. So Vicky is giving her instructions. Liana, they are all experienced players. I worked with them. Let's see. Free kick. Not bad, not too far off. A little bit over the bar. By Fuentes. So for now, Trinidad is going to have to kind of compose themselves. I'm hydrating a lot, folks, because the last couple live streams, my throat got a little bit dry, but thankfully that's not the case. So once again, I want to say a special thank you to everybody joining the live stream. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. It really helps the channel continue to support, continue to check out our content. That interview with Kelvin Jack about Trinidad and Tobago, that scathing assessment. You could check that out when this game is done. But for now, Asher James is on the ball, number 23. Whipping in a very nice ball. This is what we like about Asher. We have a shot in the box here over the bar. Gosign getting under the ball. A very good pass by Asher James. I felt as if with a bit more composure, we could have at least hit the target or at least cut it back. Having the El Salvador defense tracking back, but I felt the ball just bounced at the last minute and went over the bar. So that was a good chance for us. We have to win this game. You're right, Kingley. We have to win this game. So Gosign could have done better there. Excellent pass from Asher, and this is what I'm talking about. Asher needs to get involved in the game and needs to be at that side of the pitch. Once again, El Salvador causing some problems, whipping the ball across. Vicky using her experience, Victoria Swift, to chest the ball back to the keeper. So it seemed as if Trinidad and Tobago, I don't know if that's an instruction from the coach or it's just as a result of how El Salvador is playing. Because we are resorting to trying to counter-attack down the wings. Asher James needs to get more involved in the game. Trinidad and Tobago drawing a foul there. I think it was Gosign on the floor, grabbing her toes. So a throw in for Trinidad and Tobago. We're approaching the half an hour mark and it's 0-0. Trinidad and Tobago with one chance, half chance where they hit the post and a bit of a half chance just now. Victoria Swift pushing the players forward. Whipping it into the box. Not getting on the end of anyone. Maybe it's an attempt to try to take the pressure off. Trinidad and Tobago in possession. Franco passing the ball back to Schneider. Franco once again. Not a bad pass. And this is where we need to kind of use a bit of our intelligence. Because as I said before, I noticed one main characteristic of our style of football, both with the men and women, is that we do rely on speed and athleticism down the wings. Once again, El Salvador had a very clinical cross, causing our back four continuous problems. They are causing our back four problems, folks. So, folks, like I said, if you're in a live stream, let me know where you are, where you're watching the game. What do you think about this game? How do you think you're going to do? And when you do that, I'm not just saying that for the sake of doing that, but El Salvador, a half chance. Blasting it over the bar, folks. El Salvador. I see Victoria Swift giving a high five. A very crucial tackle. Let's take a look at the replay there. From Darwin. So once again, those overhead balls are causing problems, but a very, very crucial tackle. That ball was going in the net, folks. So she did a very good job getting that tackle into a corner for El Salvador. Very good tackle, but El Salvador have been creating chances, folks, and it's looking rough. And I am a bit disappointed with the crowd, folks. I am genuinely disappointed with the crowd. El Salvador once again with their 18th chance. Controlling possession. Trinidad and Tobago trying to force them back. A ball in the box. Is it offside? It's not. Okay, it is. So like I said, folks, if you're in here, let me know where you're from. Drop comments in the comment section. I know you're looking at the game just like I am. Let me know where you're from, where you're watching, because you automatically qualify for chances to win jerseys like this. And other prizes like EAFC and, the jerseys of your choice with the World Cup coming up, things like that. So be sure to follow the socials and keep the comments coming in the live stream. Let me know, how do you think we're playing so far? Do you think we could win this game? Are you happy with how we're playing so far? Because El Salvador has had the majority of the chances so far, folks. The majority of the chances. Cutting in and out. Schneider trying to force an error from Schneider. The cross going over everyone to the other side. El Salvador looking way more composed than we are. Trinidad Tobago once again. Are we going to do a quick counter-attack here? Long ball up the corner. So it seems as if the plan is counter-attack and get long balls. We're bypassing the middle. Very direct style of play. Like I said, I don't know if that's the plan or if that's a consequence of how they're playing. You need to get like people like Asher James involved, especially high off the pitch. But I think El Salvador are dominating that middle area of the pitch a lot, and it's causing us problems. Once again, El Salvador in possession. They look very composed on the ball, I must say. Trinidad Tobago, they're trying to destabilize our shape. Asher James doing well to win the ball back without getting a foul. Just enough to nudge the player. Yaya being easily dispossessed there. Clearly the plan is to use Yaya as a reference point up the pitch, but she hasn't gotten much of the ball. A long range shot from El Salvador, but just over the bar. It seems as if Trinidad Tobago, their plan is go down the wings and if not get direct balls to corner. However, she hasn't been involved in the game that much. I'm guessing her instruction is, from what I'm seeing, is to stay high up the pitch and maybe create some chances, hold the ball up. But El Salvador is not allowing Trinidad Tobago to do that. So this is a little bit of a breather for Trinidad Tobago, whipping the ball up the pitch. Not the best delivery. Asher James in the middle. Franco trying to hold on to the ball there, winning possession, losing it again. El Salvador once again in possession. El Salvador doing a good job with Fuentes going down the wings. Hines trying to force them back. Asher James once again in the middle. And El Salvador clearly understands that if you put some pressure on Asher James and stifle her, you could hurt a lot of our creativity. So Asher James drawing the foul. According to I hope this is correct. Saravia from El Salvador. Asher James with a quick layoff, drawing the foul from Saravia. Boot to the toes. That's never nice, especially with these new boots. So the referee now giving a yellow to Saravia. So like I said, we're approaching the 34th minute. And Laila Saravia. Laila. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. No disrespect. And if there's anybody from El Salvador looking in here, let me know. And folks, like I said, if you're in the stream, be sure to let me know what you think. What do you think about how we're playing so far? What do you think the score line is going to be? Also, I have a subscriber goal because we have a little bit of a break here, Asha. Probably strategically being attended to give us a break. Wearing Adidas, my favorite brand. So she's up. So folks, let me know if you're in here. Let me know where you're watching the game from. I know there's a lot of viewers in there right now. A lot of people don't give the women's team the support they need. So Asha James is back up on her feet, and she's looking okay. So perhaps it was strategic to kind of take some of the sting out of the game. Long ball into the box by Asha James. Bit of a 50-50 hustle. But El Salvador doing well to contain that. Not well controlled. And once again, El Salvador calm in possession. And this is where I think they have the slight edge on us. They do have that composure in the middle that we don't have. Corner trying to pressure, but she has been chasing shadows a bit in this game because of how El Salvador is playing. Asha trying to get in the game. Schneider looking for that passing lane. We do take that 1 second too long to pass the ball. And I think El Salvador has that on us. Go sign, taking on some players. Should pass the ball, but she's going on. Out wide to Prince, who unfortunately slipped while taking her shot. a bit more composure. And that's probably perhaps due to the fact that we've hardly had the ball. So Kingsley, we're giving El Salvador too many chances to score. Trinidad must not give the ball away. Yeah, whenever we maintain some sort of possession in the middle, we are creating some half chances. So I'm looking at the replay here. Aliyah from the pass on goal sign, but losing our footing at the last minute, resulting in the ball going over the bar, folks. Excuse me. So if you're just joining us, Trinidad and Tobago trying to get some sort of dominance back in midfield. We're 35 minutes in, it's 0-0. This is a crucial qualifier for the women. It's a must-win, folks, in case you're wondering. It's not some boring match. Prince, what the hell now? Yeah, she slipped and fell there. Sometimes I've noticed with a lot of Trinidad players, I'm not just saying, the women, we do lack that composure in front of the goal. We see it with the men as well. And there's an aspect to elite level football where they teach you, emotional intelligence to control the anxiety levels. And, we definitely don't have that composure. A long ball out wide to Prince. She's trying to put some pressure. But we are resorting to those long balls. And like I said multiple times, I don't know if that's a consequence of El Salvador and how they're playing, or is it how we're playing. Victoria Swift definitely having the height. She has the ability to take on a couple players, distribute the ball. Unfortunately, it was lost by, I think it was Gosign. El Salvador with a through ball. And it's 1-1 to El Salvador. Wow. 1-1 to El Salvador. A goal from Keren. So El Salvador scoring in the 37th minute, much to our dismay. There was a very well taken chance. The El Salvador players must be happy this is an away game. Folks, remember, we must win this game. We must win this game. So it was a very good through ball. It looks to me in the replay a little bit of offside. Do we have VAR in this competition? I want to see that replay again. She looked like she was one step ahead of the last defender. So I don't know if they're going to look at it. Do they even have VAR in this competition? At my look at the replay, it looks as if she was one step offside. Well taken goal by Keren. I don't know if they're looking at it. What's happening? To me, it looked as if it was 1 foot offside. But I'm guessing, there's no VAR in this. So Trinidad and Tobago don't have to react. We have been on the back foot for the majority of this game. And, outside that chance at the beginning, we haven't created anything. Why are we giving out the ball away? Why? Yes, it was as a result of a turnover. Victoria Swift giving the ball to Gosign, but she lost out. Trinidad and Tobago drawing a foul. But we're going to have to, if we keep playing like this, it's going to be very hard for us to create chances. Because El Salvador are doing a very good job of controlling the game. Their passes are very much more calm and decisive. But now Trinidad and Tobago, Liana Hines over the free kick on the left side for us, on the right side of for El Salvador. Liana Hines looking for somebody in the box. We're going to have to try to get it on the Victoria Swift. The ball whipped in and comfortably saved. That's a bit disappointing. We had some tall players. So comfortably saved by Melendez of El Salvador. So whipped out. I felt as if in that particular case there should have been a bit more control. Once again, a through ball. El Salvador in the box, but well cleared by Schneider. Actually, not well cleared because it went straight to El Salvador player. The ball is whipped in, and once again, if in swinging cross that could have led to a goal. In swinging ball that could have led to a goal from Gutierrez. If Gutierrez got contact on that, that could have been a goal. But I still think, and after the game I'm going to look at it, that first goal was possibly offside. But they have been creating chances, and based on the momentum of this match, El Salvador, I'm not going to, be that clueless. They did create the chances and it was coming. So as it stands, El Salvador with 9 points, Trinidad and Tobago with 4, Honduras 1, and Barbados 0. So, we have to win this game, folks. There's no draw. The top team in the group, from my understanding, makes it through. So if you're not on top, you are out. It's just that simple. It's that simple. And folks, let me know what you think about the Trinidad and Tobago program in general. We had a very fiery interview with Kelvin Jack, who gave a scathing assessment of Trinidad and Tobago football, where he mentioned that we think that we are better than we really are. You can check out that video when we're done on the YouTube channel. We have the clip on the TikTok channel, but we have the full interview on the YouTube channel, so you can check that out, where he gave his assessment. Former 2006 Reading Dundee as well goalkeeper Kelvin Jack. He worked on the team. He was at the World Cup. He was there when we were successful. And, his insight is very valuable. But now there's another corner for El Salvador. Candice, good evening. So a corner for El Salvador. Whipping the ball in. Short corner. Ball into the box there. El Salvador, throughout the entire game, are getting, at least causing our defense a lot of discomfort with those air balls and the through balls. So we're approaching the 42nd minute, approaching halftime. Trinidad and Tobago, I'm seeing it's ahead on Candice's feed, because mine is saying it's 1-0 still. So you are in the future, Candice. I hope what you're saying is not true. That it's 2-0. Or is that your prediction for the final score? So Victoria Swift, I keep saying Vicky because that's what I used to call her, but Victoria Swift trying to marshal her troops. So we have no control in the middle, folks. And if we keep playing like this, unless we get a counter-attack, I think it was a prediction, Kingley. I think it was a prediction by Candice. So if we don't control the play, so I could see Liana trying to create some passing lanes. And this is another thing. We are trying to create some passing here. And this is the first time we link together more than one. Once again, unnecessary giveaway here by Trinidad and Tobago. Franco and Gosain not linking up well there. But that 1 second long we take to pass the ball hurts us. And in this type of football, that hurts, that tendency to shield and pass the ball, which is a good trait. At this level, you're going to have to be a bit quicker and more composed on the ball. El Salvador in some gamesmanship. Liana Hines getting in the face of El Salvador's Gutierrez. So, Liana trying to get into some gamesmanship here. El Salvador doing, and this is part of the game, folks. So Trinidad and Tobago has to be being able to keep their calm. All this is part of the game to try to get under our skin. So Liana is going to have to be calm. She kind of got in the face, And clearly, El Salvador is getting under the skin of our players, which is part of the game. We have to learn to deal with that. We can't complain about that anymore. A cross in, Trinidad and Tobago. Liana. Asha James on top of the box. A shot blocked. And once again, El Salvador could possibly have a counter-attack here, attacking our back forward piece. A very intelligent ball out wide. Cutting in our defense. A shot. Well saved. El Salvador immediately striking on the counter-attack. An excellent save. I don't know if I pronounced her name correctly. I want to get her name correctly. Elijon or Eligon. Great save. El Salvador with a very excellent and swift counter-attack. A great pass by Keren. And the shot, I can't see who did the shot there because I'm looking at the replay still. But an excellent save. 2-0 right now would be honestly the nail in the coffin for us. So El Salvador, we're approaching the 45th minute. El Salvador with 4 corner kicks, whipping the ball in. Asha James trying to clear it, but over everybody's head. And Aliyah trying to get some possession. Trinidad and Tobago in possession right now. Franco on the ball. Asha James. A pass that was given away there. So you can see the pace of the game. It is causing our players problems. The speed of the game and this quick decision making from El Salvador is too much for us right now. It really looks that way. That's 1 second quicker with the execution is hurting us. So Kingley, if El Salvador wins, Kieran Edwards, I'll get to that just now. I'll get back to your comments. El Salvador once again comfortably in possession. Chirino. A ball whipped in. A clear shot on goal. And a free shot, a long ball directly into Keren. or Siren, I don't know if you're pronouncing it, but 3 minutes of extra time for this game. A long ball whipped in, and she was completely free, beating the offside trap. So they are causing on defense all sorts of problems. James gave away the ball there, which is, to me, what that shows is that the pace of the game is so high that we are having problems. We are having problems with that. It's a little bit scary that we are not being able to take control of the game, and it's showing the ability to make quicker passing, more intelligent on the ball. A nice through ball here. Aliyah Prince probably trying to draw a foul here, but I think she could have been a bit more strong. Maybe that's where her physique works to her disadvantage. So it was a through ball to Prince. Trying to see if it's a penalty there. From Franco to Prince. We're looking at it. Is there VAR in this competition? Chat. We don't have VAR, do we? I don't know. That looks like a penalty to me. I agree, Kingley. I think that is a penalty. That's a second call. I mean, that's no excuse for the result. But I think the first goal, even though El Salvador dominated, the first goal looked a bit of a half step offside when I looked at the replay. But there's no VAR, so we're halfway through stoppage time here. And Trinidad and Tobago have not done anything of major attacking significance except a few breakaways. I'll probably read out the stats at halftime and see what's going on. I do have the stats from CONCACAF and SofaScore. And we'll have a quick chat. Usually I take a break at halftime, but this game is going... We started off okay, but El Salvador quickly, as the game went on, asserted their dominance. Folks in the chat, let me know if you think that's a penalty. Everybody in the chat right now, let me know if it's a penalty. Also, let me know your score predictions, because if you do that, you will automatically qualify for a chance to win prizes. So I am doing some giveaways. I want to treat my loyal subscribers really well. And also, folks, be sure to subscribe as well. And, show your support for Extra Time TV. Share with your friends. Let me know where you're watching the game from. Let's talk. So we're a couple minutes away from halftime. I think Trinidad and Tobago will be happy for the whistle to be blown that we go into halftime 1-0 down only. It has not been a very great performance by Trinidad and Tobago. El Salvador have been pushing for that second goal. They have been creating chance after chance. And hopefully, we can head into halftime. And is it halftime? Yes. So, it is halftime. And, as it stands. So, King Lee thinks it's 100% a penalty. I think so as well. People in the live stream, let me know what you think. Is it a penalty? Let me know what you think. I think it was definitely a penalty. And I think Trinidad and Tobago need to get their act together really quickly, because this game is slowly running away from us. So if you're just joining us, folks, it's halftime. El Salvador 1, Trinidad and Tobago 0. El Salvador has created the majority of the chances. I'm going to try to pull out some stats here really quickly. And, I'm going to pull this up really quickly here. So yes, if you're just joining us, folks, be sure to like, subscribe, share, follow us on these socials. We are doing giveaways. As you can see, the jerseys behind here. I've been doing some work on the studio. Our last winner, Mark Molino, and a couple others. When you like, subscribe, and share, you automatically qualify for chances to win prizes, signed jerseys, the jerseys of your choice, and you can continue to support Extra Time TV with super chats, donations, purchase merch. The links are in the description below. I realize in some of the videos they weren't there. So you all could do that. You can head over to our YouTube community, continue to give us your thoughts. But let me know your thoughts on the game so far, folks. Big moves, everybody else. We are not looking very great. I'm going to try to pull out some stats here really quickly. Let's see here. In terms of the halftime stats from SofaScore and CONCACAF itself. So let's see here. Let's load the stats. So Trinidad and Tobago are playing a 4-2-3-1. El Salvador with 4-4-2. And we have some options on the bench, but we have not been creating chances at all. In terms of statistics, Trinidad and Tobago with 38. This is from CONCACAF. 38.8% possession. El Salvador with 61.2. The dual success rate, which strangely enough, because we were defending more, Trinidad and Tobago 51. Aerial duels 1. So there's a lot of interesting stats here. 60%, interceptions 3. In terms of distribution, you know, let me try. There's a lot of stats here. I'm going to try to summarize it for you all. But in terms of attack, 16 shots for El Salvador, 6 for us. 1 on target for us, and I believe that's the one in the first half. And the other one is, well, 5 for them. It looked like a lot more, but I guess that's shots on target. So 16 shots, 5 on target for them, 1 block shot. In terms of yellow cards, there was 1 yellow card for El Salvador. But, you know, these stats are not very good for us right now. So, you know, like I said, I'm pulling this directly from CONCACAF. And, you know, things are not looking good for us. Briggs is going to have to go in halftime and have a serious discussion with his players about what's going on, because we are being smacked around. And honestly, Acuna, who's the coach for El Salvador, has done a great job. I think he identified the aerial weakness for our players. And, you know, folks, let me know what you think. Like I said, everybody in the live stream right now, I want you all to take one moment to support this live stream. It takes a lot of work to do this. I appreciate everybody who's supporting me here. Be sure to click like and subscribe below. Get your friends and family to do that. Continue to head over to our socials. We have a lot of different content. Exclusive interviews with Kelvin Jack, former 2006 World Cup keeper, gave a very scathing assessment, very exclusive interview about what he thinks about Trinidad and Tobago football. So you can check that out and give your thoughts and suggestions on what you want to see. And also, you know, continue to support, because we have prizes. We have merchandise in the link in the description. When you're done, you can check that out as well. It's delivered globally. And you could also do super chats as well, where you could get exclusive access to content, members only content. And, you know, when we have our visits in the studio, you all could join. Lots of perks, folks. Lots of perks. So let me read some of the comments really quickly. Kingsley, our stats is unsatisfactory. You are correct. You are correct. If Trinidad lose, don't blame Damian Briggs. It's Karen Edwards to blame. Yes, we do have this stopgap thing where we bring in coaches. And, you know, Kelvin Jack spoke about it. What do you think about Kelvin Jack saying we think we are better than we really are? What do you think about that? Check out the video. It's, you know, check out and let me know what you think about that when the game is done, of course. Big moves. First 10 minutes, we had them too. Yeah, we played well for 10 minutes, and then clearly, not just the physicality, but their mentality, the footballing IQ, their ability to make decisions quickly, find their teammates, composure. That 1 second that we take to stop, look around and pass the ball, that's already too slow. And I'm okay with slowing the game down sometimes. But they clearly have seen and understand that perhaps in terms of their chemistry and technical ability, they are more comfortable on the ball. And as a result, it causes them to create more chances, passes the ball more, be a bit more composed. And we have to be reactive and defend and take half chances and rely solely on speed and athleticism. That is a problem I have with Trinidad and Tobago football. Our game plan wasn't working and nobody knew what to do on the pitch. Correct. That just echoes what I'm saying, Big Moves. Let's see. Ricky, welcome to the chat. I want to pronounce your name correctly. Ricky Undheim, our right midfielder, is out of touch. It seems as if I think the entire team is out of touch right now. Where I think Franco is trying to create some chances, or is it Gosign? We're just not composed and creating enough passing combinations. El Salvador is aware of this, and they are pressing us when they need to. Damian Briggs will make changes, change Asher James. And the thing is, I'm in a dilemma here because I don't think any one player could make a difference right now because our midfield is absent. Franco, Hines, and James, along with Gosign and Prince, with Cordner completely isolated up front. We're not creating passing combinations. We are resorting to long balls. This is a problem I continuously highlight with Trinidad and Tobago football, and we're not getting any sort of real chances. 1 or 2 times we did create some passing. We created a half chance. Prince with that shot where she fell. The penalty call, you know, I saw in both the penalty call, which was not called, and also the first goal that El Salvador scored, it looked offside. So I'm looking back at some of the comments here. So folks in the live stream, let me know where you all are looking at this game. I want to fix my thing behind here. Apparently, Asha James and myself have the same hairstyle. Not that it matters, but let me know what you all think. Let me know what you all think about the stream. What do you think about the audio? If everything is sounding okay. We are at halftime. I was gonna take a break, but you know, everybody's in here having their thoughts and suggestions. You know, let me know what you think. Because when you do those things, you like, subscribe, and share. It really helps the channel, folks. So like I said, I'm not very happy with what I'm seeing right now. I think Trinidad and Tobago really needs to take control of this game. Aliyah Prince, according to Kingley, Aliyah Prince 2 weeks. She did. I mean, she is tough, but you could see Ecuador use their physicality on her. So she's going to have to use that low center of gravity to kind of hold up the ball because they knocked her around that half chance, which I still think it's a penalty. I think. So folks, let me know what you think about the new overlays and the chat. I try to improve the lighting, make sure the audio sounds great. I really like this community that we're building. You know, unfortunately, you know, most of the time we are on the depressing end of games. Some people have been asking me to do streams. You know, we have a wonderful relationship with the company SofaScore, who provides us with wonderful stats, and they will be providing us with stats after the game. So, you know, let me know your thoughts about that in general, about the game, the formations. What do you think we should do? Are you happy with the squad? Are there players you think that should not be there? Also, what do you think about the stadium? The stadium is kind of empty. That's not good. That's not good at all. Simone, let me know if I'm pronouncing this correctly. Is it Elijon or Eligon? Or Eligon? I don't know. I want to make sure I get the name correctly. Yes, she did. I think the goalkeeper did well. I think Victoria Swift did okay. But Cordner is isolated. She's isolated up front. She can't get any sort of service. El Salvador, I'm looking at the replay here. The first minute of the game where we almost scored. And I think it was whipped in by Liana Hines and Franco almost scoring. So that's interesting. That's interesting as well. I'm going to try to see if I can load a graphic up at halftime. So let me do. In fact, let me do that. Let me see if I can do that while we're talking here. I'm going to load that up, folks, and you can let me know if you're happy with it or not. So I'm going to do that now. Let me try to do this, and I hope it works. Let's try it out. Let's try it out. So while we're talking, I'm going to try to load up some of the stats. And folks, like I said, you know, you would really be helping my channel by coming in, liking, subscribing, and so on. So I'm going to try to... Oh, okay, so CONCACAF has a policy where you can't do it. Well, that sucks. Let me try the other stats as well. Let's try that. Let's see how that works. So that's not working. Let's see if this works. This is from FOTMob. So I'm going to try to make it a bit more manageable to see as well. And I'm not seeing the formations for some reason. So that's not working. Let me try to refresh. See if that works. I think, so for some reason, I'm not getting the full page. So I'm going to try it again. When I get a chance. So folks in the live stream, let me know what you're thinking. Elise Franco is struggling, almost scored the first goal for Trinidad. The thing is, Kingley, what I think players like Elise, you know, you need players around you to pass to. And when you're in that position and you don't have any players to pass to and your options are limited, you can't get lost. And I think it's a testament to how all the other teams are playing, in my mind at least. So, like I said, I'm going to try to load this up so we could actually see some of the formations. So I'm going to try that again. I want you guys to have some fun with the streams. I'm going to try it again. Let's try it here. So if you're just joining us, folks, you know, this is a interesting situation for Trinidad and Tobago because we are not in full control of this game. So like I said, folks, I'm doing this live because I love you all and I want you all to get some beautiful information. So I'm loading this while we're talking. So as you can see, let me know if you're all okay with that. I don't know if it's going to stay. No, it won't. All right, so you know what? Forget about it. So yes, let me know what you're thinking. I'm reading the comments here. Ricky, at least the goal came early and not in the 90th minute. We have the entire second half to decide our destiny. 1-0 is a tricky score for both teams. Yes, it is. You know, Briggs could go in and have a halftime discussion and rile the players up and they rise to the occasion because we can clearly see what the problem is. And we need our players to really get back into the game, folks. So let me know where you all are watching from. What do you all think about the game so far? Everything, because this is a tough one for us, folks. The players are coming back on. And if you're just joining us, folks, this is a crucial World Cup qualifier for the Trinidad and Tobago senior women's team. And an interesting fact, I don't know if you all know this, I worked with the women's team as a media officer and part of their coaching staff. I do work in football. I used to. And I was there in the 2021-2022 year when we qualified for Mexico. So I am familiar with the players. I am familiar with the setup and the problems they have. Some of the players, with the exception of Asha, Vicky, and a couple others, it's a very different team. So, you know, I'm really rooting for these ladies. So, Kingley. Oh, let me read it. So, for Ricky. Oh, yeah, I read that comment already. So, Kingley, our ladies must find a way out to find an equalizer, like at least 2. Because we have to win, folks. They must not give the ball away, but they always keep doing the same rubbish. So, yeah, so we're hoping that, you know, Briggs has the right thing. That's a bit unusual, seeing players doing a bit of a warm-up at halftime. The actual players, I've never really seen that before. You know, I have a degree in sport management. I'm sure they have their reason. I'm guessing it's to keep the players sharp. They know what they're doing, I guess. My throat is a bit dry. And yes, this is a must-win, folks. This is a must-win. So everybody, let me know if you're joining in. I know it's Friday in Trinidad and Tobago. I am very disappointed in the crowd. I'm very disappointed. I know some of those other, the local YouTubers are out there as well, Interception Pod and so on. But of course, I'm loyal to my streamers here, my viewers in the chat. I am sacrificing that to come and do this for you all. So I'm seeing a substitution here. So Trinidad and Tobago has made some changes. So let's hope we get that substitution. So let's see. Let me refresh really quickly. And there's a substitution for Trinidad and Tobago. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen the substitution for Trinidad and Tobago yet. But let's see. Definitely it is Sonaya Lamare. But I don't know who she's coming on for. So the game has started back. I forgot to start back my clock, so I'm going to have to fix that. So once again, El Salvador on the attack. And, you know, Trinidad and Tobago. Whew. Once again, as soon as the game started back, we're on the back foot already. I'm trying to sync my clock with the game. So let me make sure I get this right. So Trinidad and Tobago. Once again on the back foot, folks. Once again on the back foot. So if you're just joining us, the second half has resumed. El Salvador won. El Salvador on the attack. Trinidad has made their substitution. I'm trying to see really quickly who came off. So clearly, a blind person can see, but once again, we are resorting to the long ball. So Prince came off. Prince has come off. And once again, a long ball. Not well controlled. We seem to have problems with that first touch, which is a problem in this game, folks. It is a problem. So Trinidad and Tobago. I'm just pulling up some data here, folks. But Aliyah Prince has come off. And coming on for her is... Why can't I get the information? This is really annoying. So Prince comes off for Sonia Lamere, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. So, Ecuador with a chance. And hitting the post. So I did have a delay, forgive me there, folks. I was paying attention to the wrong thing. So once again, El Salvador creating problems, forcing Trinidad and Tobago back into our own half. And honestly, it's looking very... We are lucky. We are lucky, Kingley. We are lucky. I have to be honest. If we keep playing like this, unless we do create some chances, we are trying to... Prince came off as well. And, you know, we're trying to resort to those direct balls and athleticism, and you know I don't like that. That's a problem I have with Trinidad and Tobago football at the grassroots level and so on. We just think, well, okay, we'll just outmuscle the other opponents, but there's more to football than that. It's brains, technical ability, decision making, all those things. We can't just, you know, resort to physicality. So far, a bit more attempts at passing the ball, but once again, once we get into certain areas, you can see Cordner is already a frustrated player. Ball that has been attempted to go overhead, but lost. So, Trinidad and Tobago, you know, Franco trying to whip the ball out. Sonaya Lamare, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, you know, coming on the wing. So let's see if she makes a difference. So clearly, they identify that, you know, Prince was getting physically manhandled. I hope you guys are hearing me okay, because I want to lean back a little bit. My back is hurting with my new mic. So let me know if you all are hearing me okay. I was putting a little strain on my back here. So Trinidad and Tobago once again on the back foot, folks. This is not good. This is a must-win game for us. Let me know if you all are watching this. If you're not watching it, let me know afterwards in the comment section. Some of you look at it afterwards why you didn't. And we also have that Kelvin Jack video. So Trinidad and Tobago, perhaps an attempt. Go sign, beating her man, or person, her lady. And once again, we seem to not know what to do with the ball. Our decision making is very poor. Cordner looking very isolated, completely disconnected from the midfield. When we do get the ball in midfield, we are... It seems as if the options are minimal, and we're not creating any chances. Welcome Gaza Trini 8346, where you all watching the game. It's available on the CONCACAF YouTube channel, so you can take a look at it there. I mean, welcome to the live stream, Gaza. Let me know where you're watching this game from. For once, it's available for everybody to see. Thank God. Folks, nobody's in the stadium. You think if the stadium was filled, we would have had a difference? Anyway, go sign with a very calm ball to Asher. Asher trying to release Cordner. But once again, I've noticed, and Asher apologizing, but I noticed, I don't know if it's an instruction from Briggs. When we get the ball in the attacking field, we resort to a bit of an air ball. I don't know if it's an overhead ball. Swift and Schneider looking more and more comfortable as the game goes on. The defense has had their work cut out for them. Ecuador have caused problems, causing our defense to creak but not break. So you could see there's an attempt to try to pass the ball corner. Asher not controlling the ball well. So, you know, if you could destabilize Asher, you can hurt a lot of our play. But we need Asher in this game. She needs to get involved in the game. And the other players are going to have to kind of step up. But El Salvador having our players chasing the game. Long ball in once again. Could this be number 2? And it is number 2 for El Salvador. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. A very composed finish there by El Salvador. A goal by Seren, number 10 of El Salvador. Cutting inside. You know, putting our player on the floor. And getting that second goal. Let me just update the score really quickly. So this is looking bad, folks. This is looking grim. Trinidad and Tobago trying really hard. Seren doing really well to hold off Dawent. And unfortunately, I was going to say a dad joke, but I'm not going to do it. It's not funny right now. I know a lot of lame commentators in Trinidad and Tobago would do that, but I wouldn't. I saw some people messaging me and saying Dawent into the goal. Come on. If I could reach through the stream and hit you, come on, really. But anyway, I'm laughing, but it's a laugh of pain. So, we're in the 51st minute. El Salvador 2, Trinidad and Tobago 0 with a goal from Brenda Seren of El Salvador. Once again, a direct ball over our back four, taking on our player, and a very composed finish into the box. And the thing is, the goalkeeper has been under a lot of pressure. El Salvador is just continuing to play their game. We are trying to create some sort of possession, but we have not been able to string together, I would say, more than 3 passes for this entire game. We are resorting to skill and ability, and once again, we're seeing it again. We try to resort to physicality, and like in local games, I see that at grassroots where the bigger physical players will just knock players over and win on physicality. But when you start playing at international level, that's not enough. That's not enough. And, you know, I'm not attacking the coach here. The coaches do have limited time to work with their players. They see these guys for a couple days. And, you know, our style of play versus El Salvador's style of play, it's like night and day. This is a must-win game. And El Salvador, with a counter-attack here, going down the wings. I think that's, is that Gutierrez or Fuentes on the ball, keeping possession. Fuentes. Creating some chances, going out wide. In swinging cross, which has caused us problems. A bit of a miscommunication there. This is where, you know, I guess playing together is an issue. The goalkeeper could have probably came out and get that. So this is where we could pass the ball in the middle, but we take very long to make those passes, and you can't play that slow at international level. I'm okay with slowing the pace down, but once again, Cordner with a rare touch, but just not enough time. Not enough time on the ball. She's not getting any distribution. Welcome, Anna Marie George, 9364. Them girls and I mean playing no kind of football, like they're afraid to tackle. So welcome, Anne Marie, sorry. Welcome to the chat. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to subscribe and like. And folks, I do have merch that goes towards supporting the channel as well. It's delivered globally if you want to support some cool hoodies and the EXTV stuff. You could check it out. It's actually pretty diverse. Joggers and stuff like that. And like I said, if you're just joining us, we're 53 minutes in. And we're 2-0 down. And as Anna said, I can't disagree. We're not playing any particular constructive style of football. El Salvador have dominated the passing. We are resorting to physicality and speed. And are not really stringing together passes at all. Even when we are not being pressed. El Salvador knows that we'll probably make mistakes. So, you know, the momentum is in their favor. Now, we have to chase the game. We'll create gaps. And they know Trinidad Tobago has not been able to create any passing opportunities. For example, in the passage of play here, El Salvador was able to create a passing triangle. It was well stopped by Schuster. But you could see even the physicality of the game because Trinidad Tobago has been chasing for the entire game. The legs are starting to give way, and El Salvador are very composed. Very composed. Kingley, I'm fed up. Kieran Edwards have no leadership whatsoever. I think you all would like this interview, folks. Kelvin Jack broke down his thoughts. We had a discussion. There's a video that I recorded when we got knocked out of the qualification for the men. That's not live. And it was recorded back in, you know, maybe February. So a lot has changed. Dwight York was still a coach then. But I may put that up. Where we have a long discussion about, you know, what's going on. And Kelvin Jack said the headline is, we think we are better than we really are. We are deluded. That's the words he used. There's a little clip on TikTok and whatever you could follow on the socials below there where he spoke about it. Drop comments, likes, comments, suggestion, because when you do that, you automatically qualify for a chance to win prizes and giveaways from EXTV. You could head over to extvmedia.com where we spoke about that. So when this game is done, you could check that out from Kelvin Jack, former World Cup 2006 keeper. So Trinidad Tobago with a free kick in our own half, resorting to a long ball in. It seems as if we're resorting to long balls. Now a shot by Nikita Gosain, I think. I couldn't see. But, you know, we're resorting to desperate shots. That's probably our first real shot on goal, I think. If you count maybe the goal that hit, the shot that hit the post and Aliyah Prince's scarf shot. So Trinidad Tobago, this is where we lose the ball. We have no composure in the middle. El Salvador forcing another yellow. And, you know, I don't think it's even the fault of Franco. Franco getting a yellow. Because she's looking, you could see she is looking around for passes and nobody is putting themselves in that position to pass the ball. So, you know, anybody who has played any sort of football, if you're looking around in a fast game and you can't find a player, that's a problem. And I think it's a bit unfair on Elise Franco. It's been a problem. Who is she gonna pass the ball to? You get the ball, you're looking for players to pass to. Everybody's absent. It's like nobody wants to take responsibility for the ball. So welcome Judith Hernandez. Welcome to the live stream. Let me know where you're from, Judith. If you're supporting Trinidad and Tobago, El Salvador, welcome to the live stream. And you know, this is my criticism of the game. You know, Liana is having a coach with Briggs. I can't imagine what they're saying now because, I mean, it's pretty much the same problem they had at halftime. You know, this is not looking good for us, folks. Siren, I think, for El Salvador, is nursing a bit of an injury. You know, forced a foul from Franco. Siren. But, you know, this looks a bit scary, folks. Because I'm looking at a replay of the first goal that looks marginally offside, but I don't have the best angle. Kingley, I have a feeling that Kieran Edwards must resign from being the president. TTFA, this is an embarrassment. I'm looking at the second goal, a replay here, while we have a little bit of a pause in the game. I have a feeling this is going to be a long night, folks. But you never know, folks. Many times people walked away from the stream and we came back. So, you know, maybe we could send some good mental thoughts to the players, get behind them. Because we simply cannot maintain composure. El Salvador, I mean, the crowd, I'm looking at the crowd and I'm very annoyed at what I'm seeing. Clearly, it's like maybe the parents and friends of the players, but where's the rest of the crowd? Why is it that, you know, there's more people on the stream here supporting than in the actual game? So El Salvador with a free kick, opting to go back with the pass, whipping the ball in because their air balls have caused us problems. Bit of a 1-2 combination here. Trinidad and Tobago, corner, to her credit, trying to get involved in the play, but, you know, bit of a controversial personality, Yaya. There was a time she allegedly claimed she was pushed out of the team and things like that, and she decided not to play. Discipline issues, but then she came back. She has a lot of experience. She has a lot of goals. El Salvador in the box, showing composure. Trinidad and Tobago scrambling, trying to get the ball out. And once again, El Salvador, with those air balls into the box and crosses, are causing us problems. And I think, for those of you who understand, if you think the men's preparation is bad, these players, they come and they don't get any friendlies. Sometimes this is the first time that a lot of these players are seeing each other. They play for a couple games, and then they get thrown in. You know, and it speaks a lot about our footballing system. We hire coaches. Are we doing enough? And like I said, Kelvin Jack had a very detailed discussion about this, and I want you all to check that out. It's a very lengthy discussion on the YouTube channel. You could take a look at it. So Trinidad and Tobago trying to launch a counter-attack. Once again, we try to run past 2 or 3 players. That just doesn't work. It's not working. El Salvador clearly are tactically strong. We are drawing a foul. I think it's a yellow card. Yes, it's a yellow card for El Salvador from Delgado. Stopping a counter-attack. Gosain trying to break away, but a strategic foul. I think she knows it's a foul. She probably was hoping not to get a yellow. And, you know, sometimes you have to take one for the team. Demario Johnson 2655. Welcome to the stream. Women football don't get much support for some reason. Yes, they don't. And I've experienced it firsthand because I worked on the team. So Cordner is coming off. To be fair to her, she did not get a lot of service. Trinidad and Tobago are making some substitutions. And coming on is... Why can't I see? Nia Hislop, the daughter of Shaka Hislop, who's a contributor to our show, and Chanel Arjun. So they're coming on for Cordner. And my stream glitched there for a second. So Hislop is coming on. Nia Hislop, the daughter of Shaka Hislop, who's a great supporter of Extra Time TV. And, you know, he has been a great supporter of myself in my career. Always a regular contributor to our show. Maybe we'll bring him on next time, folks. What do you think? We could have a Q&A with Shaka Hislop. And the second substitution, there's a lot going on in the game here. Chanel Arjun. So Franco is off. And Cordner is off. for Arjun and Nia Hislop. So let's see if those changes bear fruit. So you can see there's an attempt to cause some problems. Once again, Trinidad Tobago drawing a foul. That looks like a yellow card. I'm trying to see who it is. So, you know, we do have the players to cause some problems. But there's a yellow card for El Salvador. And I think it's Hernandez for El Salvador. A foul from Lamar. So Trinidad Tobago, you know, it's all or nothing. So Hernandez, correct, number 4 of El Salvador, getting a yellow card, stopping that counter-attack. Nia Hislop is on. So Schneider with a free kick from deep. Clearly they're going to go into the box. There's a little bit of jostling in the box here, so the referee is going to have to take care of that. And folks, what do you think about Nia Hislop? There's a little bit of a back and forth in the box. As expected, it's a competitive game. It would be nice if Victoria Swift was in there. But clearly the coach has opted not to do that with her aerial prowess. Not cleared well. Ball is bobbling around. A bit of a half chance. And El Salvador drawing a foul. And, I mean, they are showing some tactical intelligence. You have to give that to them. You know, they were able to draw the foul, which takes some pressure off of them, which only frustrates Trinidad Tobago, folks. 63 minutes in, we've created maybe 2 chances. And, you know, the substitutions have been made. I wouldn't consider it a foul, but let's take a look at the replay. Let's see. Let's take a look at the replay. So the ball is whipped in. Not cleared well. Let's see Kingley. They're saying... Yeah, so, I mean, if you want to go by the rules, it's a foul. But, you know, there's other refs who probably would have let it go. But I think because of the way how the shot was done. So, you know, that was Arjun who just came on, trying to take a shot. So we're seeing a little bit more of a fight here. A bit of an attempt. So Arjun and Hislop making a slight difference. El Salvador trying to get a breakaway, but it was offside. Victoria Swift, you know, while she's very experienced and a very good tackler and reading the game, you know, her ability to neutralize pace, because she isn't like ultra fast, but she was able to keep a high line and get that offside call. So that was very good. So Trinidad Tobago, let's see if the introduction of Nia Hislop. Shaka, if you're out there, who's a valuable supporter of our show, you know, good luck to your daughter as well. You know, we all wish Shaka Hislop well. You know, he was open about his diagnosis about prostate cancer. All you guys out there, I encourage you, whatever, you know, if you're in your 30s, you know, go get checked. I did my check as well. Always, I have this week I did some medicals. You can't see it, but I'm doing. I have some bandages on my foot. I have a little injury. You know, take care of yourselves. I encourage healthy lifestyles. You notice I don't drink any crappy drinks. I drink water. This is a green tea here. And, you know, take care of yourselves, people. Take care of yourselves. So we're 65 minutes in. Oh, there we go. Welcome, Ayoka Mohammed. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Welcome to the stream. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It is available on the CONCACAF YouTube channel. Of course, if you want to. But before I continue, El Salvador with some quick passing combinations in the box. Looking very composed a bit. And a final shot there in the end. But it goes wide. It goes wide. And it was a very good combination there. But in the end, a shot by Gutierrez goes wide. And, you know, Trinidad Tobago, the substitutions seem to have injected a little bit of fight. It's all or nothing, folks. If we don't, we have to win. So this team is going to have to show some courage and really get stuck in. And, you know, I hope in the crowd there really gets behind them. They are trying to get some passing combinations, but El Salvador is doing a good job at managing the game. Game management, folks. When to slow things down. When to speed things up. These are the kind of things that we need to do. So Trinidad Tobago, once again, like I said, we definitely go down the wings and once again dispossessed. For example, that's a perfect situation where a passing combination could have taken place and we could have created spaces. So Arjun trying to combine with Hines in the middle there. And not really working, but you could see an attempt to do it. So far, they are trying to inject some energy into the midfield, create some passing. But we're not able to really string passes together. This is a real problem. I actually saw this even when we were coaching. You know, that pace of the game and decision making. There's a bit of an injury. Is that Swift on the floor again? No, there's someone else. I'm trying to see who that is. I'm thinking it's one of our... Who is that? Folks in the stream, can you tell me who that is on the floor? I think it could be Schneider. And Hislop, I think, having a discussion with the coach. I think, no, it was Nikita. Go sign. So I'm looking at a replay here. Oh, no, I think it's Dawent. She kind of looks like a female version of Cardines. You all think so? What do you all think? Kingley, I think that referee from Costa Rica, I hate this ref. So Kingley, I will tell you this as somebody who worked with the national team, worked around the national team, has watched football for a long time. I could tell you that they do have a bias against the Caribbean English-speaking teams. We have been on the receiving end of bad calls. I don't know what's the reason for it. Nobody looks into it. To me, I think it's unfair that, you know, for example, a country like El Salvador and Trinidad Tobago, it doesn't come off as a neutral ref. You know, we should have Asher James with some skill there. And this is what we want to see from Asher James. So I'm guessing Asher James dropped a little bit deeper. And, you know, his slop on there being asked to push further up to create some chances. So trying to be on the ball. His slop trying to keep some possession there. I'm trying to see if she kind of resembles her dad. Dawent is still on the sideline. So we are playing with one person down. Can El Salvador capitalize on this? And I'll get back to my point in a moment, folks. But Gosain seems to be getting on that physical side. She is showing some fight, which is good. You need that. But it has to be constructive. You don't want to get yourself sent off. That is a ridiculous call by the ref. We are getting some soft calls now. I mean, I'm not saying that would have changed the game for us. But that was a soft call. The keeper doing well to read that and get that. So I was saying, I don't understand how when we have these games with Central American teams and, you know, Spanish-speaking Caribbean teams, you know, we should have a neutral ref. Maybe a ref from another CONCACAF nation, maybe the United States. I personally see that CONCACAF tends to have a bit of a preference, if that's a nice word you want to use, towards people with Spanish last names. And I said it. You could clip this and put it wherever you want. I've seen it for years. It almost feels like CONCACAF is a Spanish organization. There's people, if you don't have that Spanish last name, they tend to not really pay attention. The refereeing calls are always dubious, both with the men and the women. And I said what I said. Would that have changed the outcome of this game? No, I don't think so. I've seen it. I've experienced it. You know, it's almost like they look at us differently. But anyway, Trinidad Tobago trying here now in the 70th minute. It's 2-0. And nothing much has changed. You know, the substitutions, you know, Hislop has come on. And Chanel Arjun has come on. And Lamar, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And it's good to see that Dawent is back on. So the thing is, these players need continuity. They need support. They need high-quality friendlies. We need to ensure that we continue our youth development with people who know what they're doing. So Trinidad trying to play. You could see there's an attempt to try to play some combination play. Perhaps a little too late. But at least let's try to get back into the game and create some chances. Because if I'm the coach and evaluating this game, Kingley, why Asher James still on the field? I'm guessing they're resorting to her dribbling ability. But to be fair, Kingley, let's be honest. Who on the team right now has really created anything? You know? I haven't seen anybody that has a really, with the exception of maybe a 1v1, which, like I said, resorts to athleticism. Swift with a very long, dominant stride. I would have liked to see Swift in those corner. Those 1 or 2 set free kicks we had. I think she has the aerial ability to cause problems, but the coach has opted not to do that. So let's see. And I'm not going to throw the players under the bus. If you're not prepared properly, you're not getting the support you need. You know, this is all going to happen. You need that continuity. So, the Mario Johnson 2655, welcome to the live stream. I agree with you about the bias. So was it correct? I say that with no apology. I've seen it. I've experienced it, and we've been robbed at all levels. And I don't understand in a game like this why we can't have a real neutral ref. Why can't we get an American ref? Why not? Because it opens the possibility for preferential treatment. Now, they could deny it, of course, but I've seen it. I have been on the sidelines of games as a coaching staff of this same team, the women's team. And, you know, I saw them looking at us differently from the opposition team. It's like almost like they were expecting us. I've been told, you know, it's a bit of a prejudicial thing between the English-speaking and the Spanish-speaking Caribbean countries and Central American. And it's very obvious. So Trinidad Tobago, let me know what you think about that. 72 minutes in 2-0. We have a free kick. Liana Hines on the ball. I would have liked to see somebody like Victoria Swift in the box, you know, to just use that aerial prowess. I'm trying to see if she's in there. Trinidad Tobago loading up that box. Let's see how the delivery goes. A very strange delivery from Liana Hines. The team looks out of sync. Asha James on the ball. Asha James with a long ball. Speculative shot. And unfortunately, nothing came of it. I'm trying to figure out the delivery just now. Douglas Chaiba, 7885. We need to find a proper pool of players and invest in them from 9-10 years old. We don't have the infrastructure and funding for this. It's why we always seem to be behind. You are correct, Douglas, and welcome to the live stream. And, you know, Douglas, don't you think that, you know, the TTFA has to start taking some responsibility? The fans now have to start pointing some fingers at them. And then the coaches at all levels, at grassroots levels. You know, are we choosing the right players? You know, Kelvin Jack spoke about that in an interview I have. You could check it out afterwards. And we have the same problem. We keep doing the same thing over and over. We keep having the same people, and nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. So we'll continue that discussion. Trinidad Tobago in the box, trying to force an opportunity. El Salvador. Liana Hines on top of the box, trying to find a gap, but El Salvador doing well. A nice through ball from Liana Hines. Across. That was very poor in the end. Very poor in the end. Trinidad Tobago could have definitely benefited from a bit more composure. Sonia probably could have cut it back, do the classic EAFC run on the wings and cut back move. We all know that move if you all play the game. I do. So, of course, El Salvador showing the experience. You know, milking a couple more seconds off the clock. So, a very good through ball from Liana Hines. And Sonia could have perhaps paused and picked out a player. So Asha James is off, and coming on for Asha James is Alexia Ali. So Alexia Ali is coming on. So we have, so Alexia Ali, Asha James is off. El Salvador. What do you think about the substitution so far, folks? Do you think they've made a difference? I think they've made a little difference. They've been a bit more pacey. I would say the passing has improved marginally. Alicia, similar frame to Prince. But I don't judge people by size, folks. Let's see what he can do. I'm all about, you know, what you can do on the pitch. And that's a problem I have with Trinidad Tobago football. We have this template of what we think a Trinidad Tobago footballer should look like. And we have this old school thing about at grassroots level where we coach our players at a certain physical level, a certain physicality. It works at those grassroots levels, especially SSFL. But when you get to this level, you get shown up. You can't just bully teams anymore. It doesn't work like that. You know, we can't just resort to this, oh, let's just dribble and run past teams. That's just one part of the game. Kingley, I fed up repeating the same thing over and over again. Every time we have a ball, we're giving it away. Yes, correct. Our ability to retain possession is non-existent in this game. You could see there's a little bit of an attempt to do so. But this team clearly needs to work on possession. And I'm not even blaming the players or the coach. It's just the preparation for these games, the overall setup. You know, we set these players up. Are we choosing our best players? Are they getting the best preparation? The people in the organization behind. I've worked there. There are some good people, but there are some people, major decision makers, that don't really care about these teams. They just enjoy the plane ride to go to games. They're probably in the VIP box chilling out, watching while we lose over and over, drinking champagne, collecting free rides on FIFA trips. And who evaluates these people? The people of Trinidad and Tobago need to speak, folks. And some of the players. Dwight York spoke about it recently. And that's why we had an interview about that with Kelvin Jack, where we spoke about it. And, you know, when are we going to change? As Kingley said, we sound like a broken record on repeat. So Trinidad Tobago with a rare amount of possession on top of the box. Once again, perhaps a little bit more composure. We could have created a chance. We're resorting to desperate long shots now. So forcing a corner, that's the one positive thing. So Sonia getting the corner. So, you know, Trinidad Tobago, like if I'm the coach, I'm going to tell him, hey, listen, try to get some possession and create some chances. Just try to create some chances. You know, go down. You might as well attack and show some courage instead of, you know, trying. Because sometimes these players get frozen and they don't want to they don't want to lose by more. Not a very good delivery. El Salvador drawing a foul. Yeah, so Kingley, TTFA president, sacked York. And I don't know if you all saw the interview where York spoke out about what he had to say. And the interview I have with Kelvin Jack. And I insist that everybody who's in the stream right now, when you are done and after we chat, go look at that interview. It's very, very insightful. Kelvin Jack, I have a clip on TikTok where he said that we are deluded in Trinidad and Tobago football and we think we are better than we really are. Not just the players, but the fans as well, the administration. But then we've heard this before. When does it change? How do we get this change? We have people in there that will never leave. They will stay there for years until they die. How our media is handled. How everything is handled. It's poor. You know, it's just ridiculous. You know, football... Everybody has evolved and we are still behind. We still think that we are more than what we really are. So El Salvador making a chance. I think Lopez is coming off for El Salvador. Yoselin Lopez and Elizabeth Johannes coming on for El Salvador. And folks, I've committed to try to be very fluent at Spanish, at least by the time the World Cup comes around. And I'll be doing live streams of those teams. So folks, you know, I know this is off topic, but you could drop the team that you usually support for the World Cup. So, Dania Gutierrez is coming off. Maquena Dominguez for El Salvador is coming on. So, Trinidad and Tobago with a rare free kick. And once again, let's see how the delivery goes. It's whipped once again. A low, not overly powerful delivery. Nikita in the box, trying to create a bit of a half chance. Let's see. And once again, Trinidad and Tobago, that free kick delivery, folks, that's his second time. I don't know if they were instructed to do that or she just wasn't physically capable. But the delivery was a low, very poor cross. Did we get a corner? To Trinidad and Tobago applying a little bit of pressure. So Sonia getting a corner here now. You know, I would have loved to see a Lauren Hutchinson right now. A friend and also a good player. That character you need. Throw a header in. But of course, she's from the past regime. So once again, not a very good delivery. A completely wasted corner. An outswinging cross to no one. Given to El Salvador. Giving them a counter-attack. Putting the defense under pressure here. A 1v1 here. Into the box here. So Darwin was under a bit of pressure there. 1v1. Schneider doing well to clear and pass with some composure. But we are creating some half chances. But the free kick delivery was really poor on both of those free kicks. Low, it went to no one. Then the corner. I don't know if it's a technique issue or a fitness issue. The ball was just passed. I don't know if it was a set play that didn't work. My goodness. So Trinidad and Tobago. Once again, a giveaway. The ball flicked to no one. We are applying a little bit of pressure, but it's just not enough. And when we do get in attacking areas, the decision making is not the right or correct one. Same thing. So Victoria trying to close down El Salvador, composed in our box, trying the same shot, deflected. Keeper doing well to make our body big and capture that ball. That could have been tricky for us. Vicky gesturing to the ref. Victoria Swift, I think Schneider is down. Giving Trinidad and Tobago a bit of a breather. So, you know, this is rough, folks. This is rough. As a Trinidad and Tobago fan, I was expecting a bit more. And we did start off okay. Well in the first couple of minutes. So if you're just joining us, it's the 81st minute. There's a little bit of a pause in play. Schneider, I think, is on the floor, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. So the ball was whipped in. Bit of a 50-50. She took on... I'm not sure. She got struck with the ball. Some would argue that's a handball, but I think El Salvador are not making a big deal of it, thankfully. But she's on the floor. Clearly, you know, folks, if you understand international football, they teach you sometimes if you want to get a break, especially if you're a centre back or a goalkeeper, you can't do that. So Schneider, there's two Schneiders on the field, folks. But so I'm seeing, you know, the players looking a little bit frustrated. I'm seeing arms flailing in the air, which is not good. That's not a sign you want to see. So the ref giving her instructions, a free kick for Trinidad and Tobago. So, we're 82 minutes in. It is 2-0, 2 goals to El Salvador, 0 to Trinidad and Tobago in this must-win qualifier, which I have to say we have not performed well. And it's easy to judge the performance on the field, and I'm not making excuses. But for those of you who follow Trinidad and Tobago football, we all know that the preparation leading up to these things are not ideal for these players. These players come down, they want to represent their country, and it's just not ideal. El Salvador drawing a foul. Victoria Swift getting physical there. On a foul on Elizabeth Criscuola. So it's a free kick. I think it is Seren with a free kick on top of the box. El Salvador making the substitutions as expected to see out the game. So, folks, do you think Trinidad and Tobago could pull something back, or is it a done deal? Is it done and dusted? Can we surprise people? In the past, I've known people who have left the game. And so Ashlyn Fuentes has come on, and Andrea Amaya is off. Not a favorite name of mine. So, good delivery. Far post, almost a goal. Getting over our defense, getting over Victoria. And a diving header. Not too far off, I would say. From, I want to make sure I get it right, Meza from El Salvador. Very good technique. The delivery was excellent. And, you know, El Salvador deserve to be in front. They've been quicker with the 50-50 balls. Their decision making has been quicker. Their composure on the ball. Their passing. Darwin's trying to create something, but El Salvador pressing those passing lanes, so it's very difficult to create anything. Gosign trying to create something. El Salvador swarming. Trinidad and Tobago not getting a chance to really create anything. So they are pressing so intelligently that all players are not able to pass the ball. And we haven't been able to pass the ball successfully. So even with the press and the late surge that they've been expecting, we are not able to be composed enough to hold the ball. Kingley. Scully will be very sad seeing this result. How would we make him feel better? I think Scully's going to have to get therapy, because Scully, he's on the younger side. He has a great YouTube channel, as you all know. Liana Hines is coming off, folks. And, Scully's probably going to have another sad video, folks. But are we really surprised, though? Are we really surprised? These guys, Scully and these guys are trying to be enthusiastic, but eventually they will learn like I did. There's bigger problems. We could be enthusiastic. We could support the team. We could get behind the players. But you have these people in decision-making areas that continue to, I would say, set the players up for failure. It's an environment for failure. So Trinidad and Tobago in possession. Victoria Swift with a bit of a tricky ball. Darwin doing well to wriggle away out of pressure. Trinidad and Tobago trying to get some sort of passing combinations going. Hislop, Gosign, and they have been brought on to make a difference. But El Salvador have been pressing very intelligently. And our players are unable to create passes. They play with a bit more speed and intelligence. It's not just about athleticism, folks. You can be physically fit, but if your decision making is not great, your chemistry, your understanding, your peripheral training is not good, you're going to suffer. And you're seeing that in this game, because there's an emphasis of Trinidad and Tobago coaches about physicality. And it's important, don't get me wrong. But at this level, this is where you get shown up. Tactical intelligence, the ability to pass the ball, quick decisions, to make on-field decisions without the coach prompting you all the time. Having that ability to play against quality teams. So El Salvador making some substitutions. Yes, Kingley, I see Williams came off. Hines came off and Williams is on. So I'm seeing El Salvador making their substitutions, which makes sense. So 2 substitutions. Samaria Gomez coming on for Daniel Fuentes. And I'm seeing the other substitution being made, which makes sense about now. El Salvador trying to see off the game. Maggie Segovia coming on for Alejandra Morales. If you that name Segovia sounds familiar, he's a star player for Inter Miami. He played against Trinidad Tobago and Venezuela. Played us in the FIFA series. We lost that game 4-1. Very talented player. We should be playing more games against Venezuela. An attempt to cross in, but a bit unlucky there, the ball for Venezuela. It all happens to us. We've seen it before. El Salvador, once again, looking way more composed than we are. A little bit of miscommunication from El Salvador. So it's a rough game, folks. We are not doing well. If you're just joining us, we're in the 87th minute. Approaching full time. I don't know how much extra time we're going to get. Maybe about 2 to 3 minutes. Maybe 5. There was a couple stoppages. But Trinidad Tobago has created nothing of real significance, unfortunately. Briggs making the substitutions. And there's a lack of, chemistry. And I will give my thoughts after the game, folks. I will give my reactions. Usually I go to these games, in case you're wondering. But I did not this time. So Trinidad Tobago. Folks, also let me know if you're hearing me okay. I know some people express some audio issues. I have a new mic. Testing, 1, 2, 3. So we're approaching the 90th minute. It is a must-win for Trinidad Tobago. The window for a comeback is almost shut. Trinidad Tobago have not really created anything of significance, and I mean that respectfully, to trouble El Salvador. El Salvador are playing the better football. Trinidad Tobago with a rare attempt at combination football, forcing a throw-in, trying to pick up the pace now. We have the ball out wide. Could this be a cross-in? Our deliveries have not been good. Our crosses have not been good. Our set-piece deliveries have not been good. And it's very upsetting. Can this be a cross, at least a half chance? Crossed in. Well saved. So Trinidad Tobago with a bit of a half chance there. Well saved by Melendez of El Salvador. So a bit of a rare occasion of constructive combination play on the wings. We're seeing El Salvador do what we should be doing. Simple 1-2 passes that are pulling our players out of position. Candice, well, you are correct. If there's a giveaway, Candice is going to win it because she called it 2-0. So, folks, I know a lot of people didn't like that, but she got it correct. The El Salvador fans are cheering. There are a few that are in the stadium. And, folks, what do you think about the stadium being empty? What do you think about that? It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So, Schneider passing the ball back to be cleared. We have 5 minutes of extra time. So, let me add that into our scoreboard really quickly. 5 minutes of stoppage time. I have my cool graphics, folks. Let me know what you think about the graphics, the quality of our stream. We have data from SofaScore as well. I will be giving my reactions. We have 5 minutes of extra time. Trinidad Tobago have not created any significant chances outside maybe the first minute of the game that I've seen. So according to Kingley, the party done. And it is, unfortunately, unless there is a drastic comeback. The players are already looking a little bit dejected. And, like I said, you can't just look at what you're seeing on the field. It's a setup behind this entire system with the men and the women. It's ridiculous now. And now people are going to have to start talking. And those guys, my buddies from Interception Pod and Scully and those guys, I know they're young and they're enthusiastic, but they're probably seeing what I'm seeing now. We can be enthusiastic. El Salvador, a shot here. Could it be number 3 for El Salvador? A scoffed shot in the end by El Salvador. That could have been number 3, which would have been essentially the second nail in the coffin by Samaria Gomez. Cut back and blasted wide. And folks, to be honest, this scoreline could have been a lot higher. So a corner for the captain of El Salvador right now. Seren. Whipped in. Cleared. Pretty decent by Trinidad Tobago. An attempt to launch a counter-attack. a bit of the physicality showing its face there, where Alexia Ali kind of got out-muscled out there. You know, a lot of composure. I've been impressed with the number 10 for El Salvador. Very composed, getting on the ball, getting past 2-3 players, creating chances, getting on the score sheet. Impressive. You know, I have to give El Salvador, they are worthy victors in this game. I know there was a couple dodgy calls, but you know, we have to ask ourselves these usual questions, and I'm sure everybody's going to say the same thing. Everybody's going to have a video and a reaction about what went wrong, about what we are going to do. Doesn't it get old now, folks? Aren't you all a bit fed up of hearing the same stories over and over? When are these people going to be accountable? This is not something we could fix overnight. We need money. We need accountability with the staff. Trinidad and Tobago, the ball whipped in. Could this be a bit of a chance for Trinidad and Tobago? And easily dispossessed in the end there, Sonia. Could have been at least a shot on goal for us. We're halfway through stoppage time right now. And I think, you know, El Salvador is just going to see out the game. You know, nobody really wants to get injured. And unfortunately, it seems like a recurring theme for us in Trinidad and Tobago. We end on a sad note. And, you know, Dwight York had a lot to say in a fiery interview, and we had a reaction from Kelvin Jack. But Trinidad and Tobago, with an attack down the right side, can we whip it in? And unfortunately, it was a good crossing, but nobody being able to get on the end of it. And the players looked defeated. They looked defeated. To be fair, I think the subs came on and tried to inject some energy. But I think El Salvador's overall play was just better in the end. It was just better. And we can't fault them for that. So I fed up watching Women's World Cup qualifiers. Kingsley, you know, we say that and we'll come right back because, you know, we are loyal fans. And, you know, I wonder if sometimes the people that run these organizations appreciate the fans. Because I don't think they do, you know. I don't think they do. There's a lot of people in these setups that are just there, like I said, sitting in the VIP right now up there, drinking champagne, getting their passes, getting a salary, not paying the players. Dwight York spoke about this. A lot of dishonesty. And what do they do? Who evaluates these people? Who evaluates these people? So Victoria Swift on the receiving end of a 50-50 tackle, but at this point it's a bit unnecessary for that tackle in the end there, but, you know, it just shows the combative nature of El Salvador. It's, you know, there's a little bit of physicality here. A little too late, I think, from Trinidad and Tobago. You know, trying to do some quick passing in tight spaces. You know, Darwin, I believe, trying to get physical, but I think it's a little too late. We have about 30 seconds left. El Salvador trying to fashion one last chance. Victoria using her body to her advantage, shielding really well. Getting a goal kick. I think just trying to show her dominance. Number 17 getting a little bit frustrated, but, you know, Victoria has that height on her. But this is a perfect example where physicality does not get you the victory. I'm sure all these players are fit. You know, some will argue, well, Prince is tiny, but, you know, if you have the technical ability and intelligence and continuity. So it's full time. And that's it. Trinidad and Tobago, once again, I sound like a broken record, have now fumbled another chance for a major tournament. 2 goals from Seren, from El Salvador. And the 37th minute and the 51st minute. And Trinidad and Tobago, our chance of moving further is now gone. The players look disappointed. I think I'm seeing, is that Theobald and the coaching staff embracing the players, you know, being sporting. I could see the disappointment on the players' faces, and, you know, it is a shame. It is a shame to see that we continually fall short. We continually fall short. I'm probably going to see a whole bunch of videos with people reacting, oh no, we're disappointed. But are we really surprised at this point? Are we really surprised, people? Everybody in the chat now, the game's done. You know, let me know what your thoughts. Are we really surprised by this now? When are we, the fans, are going to hold the people who are in charge of our football accountable? It's no longer it's a learning experience. It's a learning. When are we going to actually learn? When are the people that are not supposed to be there leave? You know, we had a lengthy discussion, and Kelvin Jack explained this. It's an unpleasant experience as a fan and as somebody who works in football. and supports football and wants our football to do well, to be seeing this over and over. The people who are there, there's a bunch of people there who they fly around to all the FIFA trips, they go to all these CONCACAF conventions, they have all these coaching badges, but they're not paying the players. They're hiring coaches and 1 month or two before a tournament. Players are coming in with no real friendlies, no financial support. Financial institutions don't trust our federation, yet those same people are there and they're sitting there and they act all smug. And what are you smug about? The one time we had some bright moments was with Stephen Hart, and when Dwight York came in, and we had some moments with Angus Eve. And there's a lot of division in Trinidad and Tobago football. There's a lot of egos. There's a lot of corruption. Anybody who speaks out about it, they get marginalized. They tell them they're crazy. But it's time now. The viewers out here are going to have to start speaking out in these streams and letting people know that we're not happy with what we're seeing. It's not all down to the players, folks. It's not all down to the players. And everybody in the live stream who's still watching, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, because we had a very deep discussion with Kelvin Jack. I mentioned this multiple times in the stream about this situation with our Trinidad and Tobago football. You know, we lost El Salvador 2-0. I just realized my clock is still running, so let me stop that. You know, what do we do now? What do we do now? And that's the question. And we do this, we come around, and in the next cycle, we're going to have the same discussion, and the same people are going to be there, and they're going to act all smug like they know what they're doing. And anybody who questions them, they get angry. I know some of them. If you disagree with them, you can't have a discussion. They would approach you and be like, hey, I heard you said so and so and so and so. And you know what? It's constructive. It's not like we're out here and just mindlessly saying things. It's not rum shop talk. But any job you do, you have to be accountable. And that's why I'm glad Dwight York said what he said. And, you know, because he's an influential player. And, you know, we have to hear all the sides. We have to start taking these people, making these people accountable. We have to understand that this change is not going to be an overnight change. And it's massive. Kingley, we should have kept Stephen Hart since. Yes, I think that was the biggest shot in the foot we ever got. Like, you know, we even have coaches trying to undermine other coaches to get the job. And then when you get the job, you complain. I've seen, you know, one of the former coaches going on and saying things. You know, why do you say that now? You get the job and you go in there and it's the same story. I personally, and I know a lot of people will disagree, but this is a hot take. Terry Fennick got screwed over. He took over the team during the pandemic. You had to go, I think, 14 days in quarantine before you go into training, before you go to the actual match. And then when you get to the country, you have another couple days of quarantine because there was no vaccine back then to play with these games. There was nothing going on. The players were inactive. So just some stats. 25 for El Salvador, 9 for Trinidad and Tobago, 6 shots on target for them, 12 fouls each, offsides 3, possession 58 for El Salvador, 42% for us. So the possession looks okay, but let's be real. We were not very good in this game. And I won't stay too long because, you know, I have a couple commitments to go to, but I really appreciate everybody in the live stream. I want to say thank you. And, you know, just in the standings, El Salvador is on 9 points. Trinidad and Tobago on 4, so El Salvador goes through. There's no runner-up. Honduras on 1, Barbados 0. So we had to win this game. This was a must-win, and we continue to have the same problems, folks. It is very, very frustrating. Very, very frustrating. I'm just going to step away for 1 second. Don't you all go anywhere. Yes, folks, I'm back. So, you know, I'm going to wrap things up. You know, Trinidad and Tobago, folks, once again, unfortunately, we lost 2-0 to El Salvador. El Salvador topped the group. And, you know, I'm not going to ramble on too much. I'll have a separate video about this. But I'd like to say a special thank you to everybody in the stream that is looking at this. I would like to ask you all to kindly support the channel by liking, subscribing, clicking the notification bell. Because in addition to live streams, we have exclusive interviews like the one with Kelvin Jack, where he spoke about Trinidad Tobago football and he reacted to Dwight York's statements, where he basically said that we are delusional about where we are. That's not the exact quote, but you could check out that video. Follow us on the socials here. Be sure to purchase EXTV merchandise. There's a link below. It's delivered globally for a lot of our international viewers. Our subscribers have crossed the 3,000 mark. I would really like to really step it up and get to the 10,000 mark. It's a lot of work to do this, and I really appreciate everybody joining in and continuing to support the live streams and support not just the men's football, but the women's football and sport in general. I'll also be doing some live streams to some games as well. And the World Cup is coming up, folks. So, you know, I have a lot of merch as well for that. We do have giveaways. When you like, comment, subscribe, follow all these things, you automatically qualify for a chance to win prizes. You know, jerseys like this, you know, autographed jerseys from the players. And also you can join in. And if you do the super chats, you get a lot of perks, folks. You get special access to interviews with the actual players, celebrities, people like Hislop, Kenwin Jones, merchandise and giveaways, folks. So be sure to do that because it really helps the channel. It takes a lot of work to get it done, folks. So Mark the Shark, welcome. Just wrapping things up, Mark. Mark is one of our most loyal fans. I see Mitra Narayan Singh has subscribed. Welcome, Mitra. I'm seeing Rising Up, Trinidad and Tobago can't pass the ball. Correct. The passing was woeful in that game. Woeful. We should blame Kingley. We should blame Karen Edwards for that loss. Kingley, same thing I say, and they're giving the ball away. Yes, it is a very upsetting sight to see the lack of preparation we have for our players and how they do things. It's the TTFA is going to have to take a hard look at themselves, not just the TTFA, but everybody who's involved in Trinidad and Tobago football. And like I said, there is a very exclusive interview we had with former World Cup goalkeeper Kelvin Jack. It's very detailed. You could sit down and have your drink, listen to it on your car, on your Bluetooth, on your phone, and take it in where he said that we are deluded about Trinidad and Tobago football. We have the full interview on the YouTube channel. You could check that out. We even have a lot of interviews with a lot of the players before. Seen on the screen behind it, there's myself. That's kind of hilarious. I want to put my original background back. So let's do that. If I can find it. But yes, you know, just to kind of wrap things up, folks. Let me just fix this quickly before I sign out. I'm playing a video of myself, folks. That's hilarious. So yeah, you know, like I said, I appreciate the support. I'd love to hear everybody's thoughts. You can head over to the YouTube communities. I will try to create a WhatsApp community. You all can join in and have your discussions. Because I want you all to check out that video when this is done. Check out that video. I may or may not do a reaction to this game. Just let me know your thoughts. And everybody in the live stream right now, like I said, I want to say a special thank you to Mitra Narayan Singh for subscribing. So there you go. Congratulations, Mitra. You are now part of the EXTV community, and you now automatically qualify for a chance to win prizes, jerseys, signed jerseys as well. So like I said, folks, I'd appreciate the support if, you know, there's merch. Also, you could do super chats where you can make donations to the channel. And it continues to help the channel grow, and equipment and all these things to improve the studio as well. You know, it also goes to a charity as well, some of the proceeds. And just let me know your thoughts on the game. Let me know your thoughts as well. Kingley, the TTFA, must find a permanent coach for our senior men's team if the TTFA president failed to do so. We'll be relegated to League B in a CONCACAF Nations League 2026-27. Things are bad, folks, and I encourage you right now, as soon as the stream is done, to look at that video with Kelvin Jack, the exclusive interview with Kelvin Jack, where he spoke and nothing held back, and it's constructive. We're not having, as we say in Trinidad and Tobago, rum shop talk, bar talk. And nothing is wrong with that. That's okay. If you guys want to do it, that's fine. But it's good to have constructive conversations because a lot of these people in these organizations don't like that. Not all of them. Some of them are very mature and they would listen. But they feel as if, hey, who are you all to tell us these things? And the fans are consumers of the product. We want our teams to do well. The players, these young ladies today and women, you know, they sacrifice, they put on the colors of their national team, and the least we can do is provide them with the best resources possible to win. And, we get these players, they commit to Trinidad and Tobago football, and we have to make sure they're prepared. It's classic. You fail to prepare to fail. It's the same story over and over again. So, with that being said, folks, I'm going to wrap things up. Everybody in here, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Continue to support the channel. We have lots of content with Shaka Hislop, Kelvin Jack. Purchase merch, follow us on all the socials. Continue to support this channel. I want to get to that 10,000 subscriber mark. It helps the channel a lot, folks. You would not believe it. It really helps the channel. So like I said, folks, one last thing before I go, I will be redoing the EXTV live. The World Cup is coming up. We'll be doing our countdown to the World Cup, and we'll be doing watch-alongs for the games. I may or may not be present for some of the games. Let me know who you support. And also head over to extvmedia.com, where we have very different, unique takes on football topics. And also, I want to say a special thank you to SofaScore, who always provides us with wonderful data. So with that being said, folks, I'd like to say it's an absolute pleasure. Unfortunately, we lost El Salvador. The dream is over. And, we could all lick our wounds. I'm glad that we have this Extra Time TV community that we're building. And I would love to see you all very soon. And I will be seeing you all very soon. So take care, folks. And it was great seeing you all.
Hi, I'm Shaka Hislop, and here's Extra Time TV.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching Extra Time TV. Don't forget to like and